Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Walker. I'm joined by Dalton Renshaw. We're here in front of the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're here to prep you for the first matchup of the Utah State women's basketball. They're facing Colorado State. But first, I want to talk a little bit about their kind of the end of the regular season, or most of the second half. So,
Yeah.
Dalton, how did the second half of the regular season go for them?
Well, they had an interesting second half. They lost 6 straight kind of the midway through the season, but they rebounded well. They won 5 of the last 6 games, including 4 in a row to close out the season. Their last game coming against the Colorado State Rams in the regular season final, 70-59 win just last week. And so, yeah, it's kind of been almost a tale of 2 halves of the season, and at least you can say they have a lot of momentum coming into this game tonight.
Yeah, and that's something they didn't quite have last year. Last year, Utah State lost in the first round to Air Force. Kind of a disappointing end to what was a really disappointing season. But here, like you said, they finished 5 out of the last 6 games with wins, which turned around what looked like almost a season collapse into an above 500 season. If they win one more game, they'll pretty much guarantee having a winning record for this season, which will be just the second time since before joining the Mountain West. So a really nice rebound season by Jerry Finkbeiner and the rest of these girls. But really quick, let's talk about one player in particular.
Yeah, let's talk.
And that was Shannon Duffesey. And it was announced earlier today at around 12 o'clock that Shannon Duffesey won or was recognized as one of the members of the first team All-Mountain West. So, how did her season go?
Well, she had a really good season. She really took on more of a scoring role, a leadership role with this team. She jumped her average of scoring from just around 8 points to just over 15 points this year. 2-time Conference Player of the Week this year. Like you said, earning that Conference Player of the Year honors. And not to mention, she also led the conference in reboundings, the only player to average over 10 rebounds a game this year. So, yeah, she definitely was the girl that decided to step up and take on more of a role with this team. And the last 4 games when they've won, she's had a really big impact. A career high 29 her last game, also with 14 rebounds. So, yeah, she's definitely been one of the players that's helped this team to kind of get to where they're at here towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and if you look at that 6-game losing streak they had, one of the things that was there is that Shannon kind of went through a bit of a cold spell for herself. And then, like you said, she's really rebounded these last 5 or 6 games. And, she averaged a double-double, and she had 17 double-doubles this season, which tied a single-season Utah State record. So, again, just really excellent season. And you said she won 2 Mountain West Player of the Week. That's more than Sam Merrill got.
That's true.
And he's looking
it's
at
more than any Aggie men won this year.
Yeah. So, all right, let's look at these last 2 Colorado State games. So Utah State's played Colorado State twice already. They're 2-0 against them, and really both those games were pretty close to blowouts, I'd say.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, so I think what you said the one was
70-59 their last matchup.
And the other one was, I believe, 72-53 or somewhere around there. And so both home and away, Utah State took care of business. Obviously, at a neutral site game, anything can happen.
Right.
But I think based on previous meetings, I think that Utah State can pretty much handle this. Although, to take care of business, what would you say the keys to the game are?
Well, Utah State has a tendency to start out games kind of slow, so if they can get their offense into a rhythm, get players involved early, obviously that's going to help them. Also, they out-rebound Colorado State, which will definitely help them if they can kind of get on the glass, get some rebounds. Colorado State's not a great three-point shooting team, so if they can kind of work that area of the game, that'll be something they can do, start out the game early, get some confidence, and work on some more things heading into the second half.
Yeah, and so definitely that confidence on the defensive end and forcing Colorado State to take those bad jump shots is definitely huge. And then on the offensive end, I think especially just getting some confidence for everybody, because you mentioned those slow starts. They miss a few shots. Maybe Shannon doesn't quite get into the offense early, or Haley Bassett or Rachel Brewster. There's a bunch of players on this Aggie team that if they don't quite get their shots going in, things can spiral out of hand. And you saw that in that 6-game losing streak, and even last season with a lot of these same players. But if you get these girls rolling, then they'll put up a ton of points in a hurry. There's a ton of scoring potential on this team. And you look at one player who's really come out these last, I believe, 5 or 6 games, Rachel Brewster, who's struggled at times in her career, but she's averaging 15 points in her last 5 games, I believe, and as well like 5.2 rebounds. So she's had a really nice stretch as well.
Yeah, and that's what's really helped him over this last couple games is that she's only averaging just around 8 points on the season, but like you say, 15 in her last 5 or so games, and having that extra offense and having a girl like Eliza West being able to distribute the ball as well as she has. Rachel Bruce has also contributed quite a few assists in these games too. So yeah, like you're saying, if they can get a lot of players involved, get the offense with some confidence, get some good looks, you really like the chances of Utah State in this one, especially like you're saying over the last 2 matchups. They kind of handled things fairly well against the Colorado State team.
Yeah, you bring up Eliza West. She's, again, really everybody's been playing well in this 4-game stretch, hence the 4 wins, which actually included a win over Boise State, who's pretty much the top team in the conference. Yeah. But Eliza West averaging 8.8 assists over these last 4 games, so just really killing it as far as distributing the ball to all the players who have been able to score, such as Brewster and Haley Bassett, and go down the list of players who've had really good scoring outputs these last 4 games or so. All right, so that'll about wrap it up, although really quick, I want to get your prediction. What would you say a score prediction for this game is if you had to pinpoint it?
Just looking at the last 2 games, the last 2 meetups between these 2 teams, I think it's going to be, somewhat high scoring. I'm going to say Utah State somewhere in the 70s, let's say 73, and Colorado State. I think they're going to make it close. It's a tournament. Let's say 73-62.
So I'm going to go a bit more of a blowout, but, I think you could be right in that it could be close. I'm going to say 70-55. I think just the momentum that Utah State is on right now and some of the scoring, and if they get out to a hot start, then it's going to get out of hand pretty quickly for Colorado State. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll wrap it up here, but we'll be covering all the games for women's basketball and men's basketball throughout the week. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.